Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's May 26, 2021. This coming week will be Memorial Weekend, so we'll try. I've been hardening off some plants. I'll show you a quick look at some of the plants that we've been hardening off. And this is pond 5, the pond that we did a lot of work on last year. Several years we've been trying to patch it, but it went completely dry this last year because of that severe drought. It's been pretty dry recently, so I'm really hoping for some more rain. I've been working on various projects around here, so I thought I'd take you around. I've got some of our Premier 1 fencing, which I'm not a big fan of, but on this property, this section of property, this is all soil that I built up over the years. So it does work out okay right over here. So here are some of the raspberry plants that I removed from all of the other raspberry sections in the past. These are some of our ornamental grasses back there that I did some divisions with a couple of weeks ago. So the raspberry plants are doing okay. We sold a fair number of them. And let me get over here to the gate. I'll show you some of the things growing here. I've got to get out here and water today, even though there's a 51% chance, according to Alexa, that we'll have some rain today. But that usually means it's going to fly right by us here. So these are the fig trees. The fig trees leafed out early, and you could see the cause of the damage as a result of not hardening them off. And so hardening them off means gradually bringing them out and gradually exposing them to full spectrum sunlight, as opposed to starting off their season inside of the coop over there under LED shop lights. So the leaves get burnt and all, so I'm going to wait another week for more new foliage. So this is all new foliage right up here starting now. And so it takes a couple weeks for them to get started. So I've got a lot of figs to try and sell. Here's some of the elderberry plants. These are the ones I started a year ago, and there's some I just started this season right over here. Here we have 2 sections of different trees, and of course the labels burn off again this year, so I have to come in. And that's looking like a peach tree right there. So there's a few, looks like a few peaches in here. And I've got to see which ones are in here. Some of these are looking like persimmons in here. Here's some of the curly willows, and I took these a little bit late, but you can see my system. The willows really love their feet wet, so I've got them inside of a bucket that will maintain water in here, and they'll start sending out roots. These willows really root pretty easily. I'll have certainly like a 95% success rate, and with these trees and all. And down here last fall, when I was doing some pruning with the persimmons, I took some of the cuttings from it. It really needs a misting system, so hopefully next year I'll set up a really nice misting system for the plants. So elderberries in here, these are the ones I started last year. Here are the ones I started this spring over here. Here in some of these buckets. Of course the deer were getting in here before I got the fences up. So this is a bucket of peaches. This one is, which type of pear is this? These were Bartlett's, but the deer came through and gobbled them up. Here are some of the thornless blackberry plants here. All those are the all of the fig trees, brown turkey and Chicago hardy figs over there. Here people have been asking about me starting up some pussy willows for them, so I've got a whole bunch of pussy willows started in here. These are trees I transplanted last year. So right there we have a curly willow right here. Here we have a black locust right here. Elderberry plants all along in here. This is a honey locust right here. This is a oak tree, a maple tree, probably hard to see with the background there. These are still all pussy willows. I sold one of our large black currants after everything had completely leafed out, and so I really pruned it back pretty heavily, and so I stuck some hardwood cuttings in here, and already had flowers and all, and starting to produce berries. And I wanted to see, just these ribes are so easy to go ahead and survive and start putting down roots, and so I wanted to see what percentage I could have after the whole plant had already started producing pretty mature flowers that had been pollinated. Here are some more curly willows along in here, so we'll give them some chance. Here's another honey locust right here. That's the maple now. You could probably see it a little bit better. This is another oak tree over here. This one's just starting to leaf out. A few raspberries here and some gooseberries along in here, and of course the elderberries in here. We have a few currants that I'm going to be using as for propagation, so these will be a couple that I'll probably end up keeping here right on site. Here are some more. Oh, I think those are peaches there. Let's see. Yes, these are peaches in here. Some burning bushes, and the deer just chewed these ones right down. I've got to get some labels for these. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. I've got oh, what are they? Aronia berries there. Here, these ones here, I'm waiting for them, for the berries to be fully produced, because the labels blew off of all of these currants. So these are all currants or hosta berries. I'm just not positive because the labels blew off on these. A few of the maples in here, a locust, figs, pink currants in here, and these ones I'll be using for further propagation. These are all red currants in this area here. Here we have, these are all almond trees right in this section here. Some more figs in here, a couple more figs here. These are all hosta berries. The hosta berries are the cross between the gooseberry and the black currant. I really love these. Of course, the deer just decimate these. They just chew them right down like crazy. Here we have some gooseberries. In this location, mostly all gooseberries here. A couple of blueberry plants in here. Some more peaches starting up in here. More gooseberries. This is another variety of gooseberries, and again more of the thornless blackberry plants. It's really challenging with the blackberry plants. If the deer get near them, they just chop them right down. They just love these buggers. So that's it inside of this area here. But the sun really does create quite a hit. If it wasn't so much work moving all of these, I would have gradually started off putting them to a place that was partially shaded. I'm talking about the figs here, and then gradually move them to locations that get more and more sunlight each day. But they really are, they enjoy full sun. And within a couple of weeks I'll go ahead and top all of the new growth, and that way we'll get some figs on probably just about all of them. Come over. So hardening off is really important for our delicate vegetables and all. So here we have some of the cauliflower, broccoli, the peppers, banana peppers, red onions, and the tomato plants over here. And I grow these under LED shop lights inside the work area over there. But it really is beneficial if we can get these plants gradually introduced to the full sun out here before getting them transplanted. And today we'll have some pretty good winds. That's good for them too, to get used to our winds here. This is an area I've showed before. This is an area where I'm starting the gooseberry plants all along in here. And this is a way of stooling or mounding them to get them to one plant to make a whole bunch of plants. So I got these weeds here. So I'll gradually be building up the soil in between these paths of wood chips down in here to get more of them. In the western garden plot here, was 2 years ago, I did the stool layering or mounding of the honeyberry plants. So these are all the honeyberry plants along in here. I've got to do quite a bit of weeding with it in here, but that technique works very, very well. So one easy way of propagating these ones is if I wanted to take these and cover these up, like pin these down and partially bury these little nodes. So internodal areas are the places between, hopefully this camera is showing up, internodal area is this place between these two nodes here. So this area right here, if I were to bury that under the soil and cover it up and pin it there, that will develop roots over time, and then I can cut this off and have, as many, you can get as many from a plant like this. This is all new growth. I could take this, lay it down, and each one of these places a new honeyberry plant could develop. It takes time to do it that way, but it certainly does work. So I think there were 3 that didn't make it. So these all started from 4 plants, and now all of these can produce probably 10 plants apiece. It just takes the time to come over and do the process. So this new growth could lay it down, pin it there, cover it with soil, and they'll just gradually start to send out roots over time. A real easy propagation method. And here's one that didn't make it, but that's okay. If you lose one here and there, that's fine. So over the last couple of years, we started with the cuttings that I purchased, the blueberry plants, and you can see where the blueberry plants are here. These I created hoops this last fall and covered them up, and they're completely buried with snow, but they're doing okay so far, and pretty happy with the blueberry plants so far. Here are some of the red currants that we've got going on in here. And Thea already got our broccoli plants in, I think 2 weeks ago. Some of our lupine along the edges here. Chamomile as well along in here. These are really beautiful nitrogen fixers, really improve your soil. So I had a couple of the broccoli plants that need to be replaced. I'm not sure what happened to them. I really haven't spent too much time out here. This is the area that I took a lot of our waste paper materials and our cardboard and some crappy wood chips, and I already made a video about doing this to get this area weed suppression, and Thea got the bean seeds in along the 3 different trellises that we've got. Geez, they're actually starting to pop up here already. So, and you can see bindweed right in here. And of course the root structures on these bindweed really are something. So these ones were all started by seed, I can see. But these will also shoot right out to the sides. So I've got to get in here and weed, and we got cauliflower right in here. Hard to see with all of the weeds in here. So let's take a walk around. So as I mentioned in the last video, I'm in the process of trying to declutter our spaces, and this is a very time-consuming process because we've had so many activities throughout the years. So one of the things, and we'll see how the light adjusts in here. So, like, I was gonna use this. I picked this granite up on Craigslist a few years ago, and then our whole plans changed, so I put that on Craigslist now. And one hobby that I had that kept my sanity for many years was reef aquarium systems. So, and our whole house was just nothing but coral reefs and fish. And so here's just some of the lighting and all. And Thea's cleaning a lot of this stuff up. You can see the cats have been walking up over it and all trying to get things ready so we can try and sell some of our reef supplies. So this is a freshwater tank, 125 gallon one. This is one of our reef 210 gallon systems here. And then we have all the ones for propagating the various coral and all, and many of our different filters and chillers to maintain the appropriate temperatures and all. And upstairs we just have a plethora of other reef supplies and all. And I just don't have the time, so we got refugiums and sumps down below. And I have over in the work area, I have a big marine land salt mixer over there as well. So all of these things have got to go as we enter this next phase of our lives. And one of the things I want to do is reclaim my workshop here. Over here, it's a little bit sad. So I've got a lot of my garden, my two-wheel BCS tractor here, and you can see hydraulic hoses here, things that I've been working on. But our big beautiful Optimus Prime case 995, it looks like a big void here. And then we have the Mahindra there that I'm selling. That's the one with the snowblower. And you can see my shop has been so crowded. Yesterday I had, or the day before yesterday, I run airlines out. So here's my big welding table. And I just have everything just piled up on areas. And so this welding table is going to come out. I don't do as much welding anymore. And this, it's 16 foot by 4 foot. And it's a monster of a bugger. I think it's over 3,000 pounds, half-inch steel. And so this will be repurposed for some other functions here on the property. But I used to do all my own fabrication here. And so some of the things I've been working on is doing repairs, you know, getting all the equipment up to speed, doing some firewood work here. Here's my helmet. And so I used to really be into motorcycles for, you know, all of my life. And this is my most recent motorcycle. This is a 1999 Royal Star Venture motorcycle. And you can see it's all taken apart right now. And the reason I'm showing this is Earl had actually was a bit surprised with my video that I mentioned yesterday where we're buying some new equipment that I hadn't talked about biofuels or biodiesel and all. And I'm a big battery electric enthusiast, if you've been watching for a while with Tesla and all. But with biofuels, one of the most common biofuels that we are utilizing all the time is ethanol in gas tanks. So ethanol does such horrific damage to the fuel systems and to the engine. So this is the fuel tank off of the Yamaha, and since I hadn't used it in a couple of years, the gunk and debris that got in it went through the whole fuel system. So yesterday I was pulling off. So these are the carburetors off of the this motorcycle, and you know it's just, excuse me, it's just terrible what ethanol has, and it creates and again, my ethics are self-care, earth care, people care, and future care. And in the permaculture community, where I was very, very enthusiastic about the use of biofuels. But there are ethical, there are social, and there are environmental issues associated with all of these biofuels, including biodiesel and all. We do need regulations, but unfortunately our government officials can't meet eye to eye and consider the ethical, social, and environmental impacts of creating standards for these biofuels. It requires individuals, and there's such differences that I see detrimental impacts. you know, with some of these fuels. I'm not saying that biofuels are bad. They have tremendous potential. So those are my thoughts. So I thought I'd just address that concern. So it's with motor, you know, if serious motorcyclists will always be draining their tanks or using non-ethanol based fuels and all, and you know, it's just terrible. And I know many people are very much opposed to the new diesel regulations and all, but I'm for them for right now, until we can get better systems in place, like battery electric vehicles and all. I mean, using the solar power and being able to store it with good battery technology. And unfortunately, many of the manufacturers are just a bit far behind. This is one of my failures this week. So I went through, I cleaned out the fuel tank in this, cleaned out the, replaced all the fuel lines on it. And I took the carburetor off, and I decided, since it was sunny, to work out here over the grass. And of course, the little shaft, a couple of the parts of the float just slipped out of my hand and fell in the grass. And of course, they're not magnetic, they're brass. So I'm not able to deal with them appropriately, unfortunately. So hopefully in the next week I'll be able to get the tarps off, get those out back for weed suppression, occultation, for where the blueberry plants will be going next year. This is one of the other trellises that we used up just about all the end of the wood chips that we had, and Thea got the bean plants planted the day before yesterday over in this area. There's weeding that needs to be done over in here. These are 3 rows of the black currants over here. So these are the hardwood cuttings. These are doing really well. One of the things, and this is the first time of me using, so these are alfalfa pellets down here, and there's the small chipped wood, not small chipped, wood shavings, small shavings, wood shavings that I got from Tractor Supply, to see how well that would help to suppress the weeds. Well, it's not doing a great job suppressing the weeds, but it is somewhat helpful, because there'd be a lot more weeds starting up, and so I just have to get on top of this. The sage, as you can see, is doing extremely well. All of our thyme areas are doing fantastic. Over here you'll see, yes, I've got some of my used sheetrock holding down the cardboard over here. So that's calcium sulfate. I know people think it takes years for this stuff to break down, and of course if you just threw it out in your backyard, it would take years. So I removed all the irises from all around in here. I've got more cardboard to use for weed suppression. This material will be broken up maybe next year or the year after from this section here, and I'll be using this calcium sulfate in other gardens as well. So we turn waste into beneficial soil components. Now this would, if you had really heavy clay soils, which we don't have here, this would even be more beneficial, this sheetrock. Over here some lavender coming back nicely, the sage plants, and weeds were growing up in here pretty heavy on this bed, and so I just took some of our black plastic, just the stuff that you'd get at the store, laid it down over here, and we'll let the sun heat this right up and kill a lot of those weeds there. Now it would be much better if the plastic was in direct contact with the soil, but it's not. Over in here, so here are our handicap raised beds for our strawberry plants, and so this bed over here, I took a lot of the ones from the margins and replanted these ones last fall. I took some more from here this spring and stuck them over in here. Now we need to weed these areas, and these will be propagation systems. So each one of these strawberry plants over here will probably put out 4 to maybe 6 different strawberry plants to fill up these areas. But I've got to weed the areas as well. And these beds need to be weeded as well. Over here, These ones, oh, it's got some of that grass in here, darn it. The winds just keep blowing all of the weeds in here. One of the things really interesting with these small shavings with the moist spots for the drip irrigation, and I have the drip irrigation on top of the soil but just underneath the area here where all the hardwood cuttings are, and these areas get wet, and these are the prime places for all the bees to come down and water throughout the day. So as it gets warmer, this area will be just covered with honeybees. And I've got some more weeding to do here as well. So these are high bush cranberry plants here. We'll see, it looks like some of them had leafed out but not doing as well. So some of these will root well. These are all hostaberry plants here. These ones are all looking very good. Lots of new growth. They've already set down roots. And then we have some of the mulberry hardwood cuttings from our Illinois mulberry trees. So we'll see. I don't expect many of them to establish good roots and all, but if I can get 10% of them, that'd be awesome. That's the way I look at it. I try not, and boy have I got some weeding to do here. I try not to look at it too pessimistically when I'm doing these things. And I made a video a month or two ago about our citrus trees, and I talked about these in the soil versus soilless mixture. And so this is soilless mixture right here. And when I had the soil and we brought them into our house, which was 80 degrees in our house during the winter months, we had the scale and we had the mites, and they just decimated the trees. So these were beautiful citrus trees, and I really pruned them back quite a bit. And they started sending out their shoots, and then they came out here and they didn't get a chance to get really hardened off. I should have put them in the shade there initially, but 3 of them I don't think are going to come back at all. You can see they just got torched, the new growth coming out of them. But these ones are starting to recover now, and maybe this one will make it as well. This was a real hardy plant before, and well, you know, that's one of the things. It's a major flaw on my part. Number one, taking soil which was loaded with microbial communities that were like the figs and all the outdoor perennial plants that I have, I brought those inside, and of course there weren't the integrated pest management in our house to take care of the scale and the mites, and that just completely decimated these plants. Now we used the soaps to try and deal with the problems, but that did not work out so well. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of a new shoot coming up over here. So I thought I'd make a relatively quick video just to show you a couple of things that I've been working on around here. There's plenty to do, and I'm always behind getting the projects done, but so much for this. So if you found this video of value, please give us a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I do appreciate all of the interactions I get from people and all, and you know, people bring up absolutely very valid and very important points, and there are multiple ways to look at topics such as biofuels, and I really think we need to be thinking about biofuels, but not taking up good cropland that could be feeding people in order to make a substance that that, you know, very wealthy people can make a great deal of money off, but destroy soil at the same time and use herbicides that pollute our environment. So I didn't want to make a big video about that, but just wanted to mention my thoughts. And I think that's it. I won't be talking about the food forest in this video. Well, thanks so much for watching, folks, and have a super fantastic and safe day. Bye-bye now.